Let's get straight into it. The pros and cons of owning your own gear as a DP. You know, as DPs, cinematographers, filmmakers, videographers, whatever you call yourself, we have the ability to tell stories every day. We're so blessed and gifted to have cameras in our hands and be able to tell stories whenever we want, wherever we want. Basically, just owning a camera has opened up so many doors for me to go film for artists, for brands, for nonprofits, and do some amazing work. I mean, I've been able to travel to places like Turkey to document and tell the stories of some of the refugees that live there. I've been able to shoot and capture content for brands like Nike, Apple, Samsung. And I've also been able to use my camera to shoot a ton of footage to place on different stock websites where I'm able to make passive income from all the clips that I'm selling there. But there's also a lot of cons with owning your own gear. But before we dive into the details, if you're a filmmaker and looking for some free filmmaking assets, I have a link attached down below. I have a sample pack of LUTs, aspect ratios, different gradient overlays, and different things that will help you in your filmmaking journey. And if you're editing something and looking for some different elements, just go to the link down below and check it out. All right, let's start with the pros. The first and the biggest pro to owning your own camera is that you own your own camera. You can shoot wherever, whenever you'd like. All you have to do is pull your camera out of the bag, put a battery on it, put it on a tripod or your Ronin, and just start shooting. You're not limited to having to rent gear or borrow from a friend and have to always be communicating with people, see when they don't need their cameras or rental house or whatever. You own your gear. You can pull your camera out and start shooting whenever. And owning your own camera is beneficial because people remember you as the person who owns a camera. So for any last minute gigs, you don't have to worry about getting in contact with a rental house, putting a package together, and then going back to the client. There's been so many times where some of my biggest clients have asked me to shoot on the day of, and I have all my gear, you know, ready in the car or in the house, and all I have to do is just show up and pull it out and start shooting. So it's really beneficial to own your own camera gear because a lot of last minute jobs, like let's say a friend got sick on a music video set and they need a BTS person or they need another camera operator to show up with their gear. And you could be that person next on the list. You're literally not too many people away from getting the gig that you want. So it's good to own your gear. One thing that's really beneficial to owning your own camera gear is that you can just show up to set anytime. You know, I've had people call me an hour before the shoot or during a music video shoot and they're like, hey, we need another camera operator. We need another person to step in to do BTS for, you know, big artists from big labels. And I'm like, what? Like, these are people I never thought I could work with, but because I own my camera gear and also have my own lighting gear, I can just literally pull up to the set and just start shooting. All I'm trying to say that owning a camera has opened many doors for me. Point number 2 is that owning your own camera gear can result in you making more money. Cha-ching. I've had jobs where the client or the agency or the artist has hired me as a DP, you know, to basically come and light the scene, lens the camera, do all those things, but also have asked me for my camera package and what I would charge for a camera package. I also throw in some of my lighting gear in there because I would rather have them just rented from me versus having to go to a rental house and giving them that money. And what I can do is to leverage that is to lower my prices slightly than the rental house. So there's some incentive for, you know, the person hiring me to give me that rental money as well. So I've had a lot of jobs where I've basically been able to double my day rate because I own the gear, I own, you know, 5 lights, I own some grip gear, you know, things that you wouldn't think would cost a lot to rent. It does. I would rather that person just throw the money to me because I already have my gear in the car, you know, I don't have to go pick it up from somewhere or have my first AC go pick up the camera or something. I can just show up with my gear in the car and be ready to go. And this is what motivates me to keep buying more gear, essential gear, not just any gear that comes out, essential gear that I need for music videos, for, you know, corporate stuff, for interviews and things like that, because I'm able to charge more. But also when I buy the gear, after a couple times of renting it out, I've basically paid it off. And whatever I'm making extra, ever since that point, it's just gonna be more residual income that I can go use and get more gear or update my camera or update, my computer or something like that. And point number 3 is that as a cinematographer or filmmaker, you're gonna have, opportunities that come up as passion projects for, other directors or, other filmmakers that want to use you and your talents and also your gear. And, if you see their project and if you're interested, you can just bring your gear to set and use it for the shoot. And there are gonna be opportunities where you're gonna look at the project and say, maybe it's not the best fit for you, but you can still, lend your gear to your fellow filmmakers that need it for their passion projects because they believe in it so much, but maybe can't afford to go and spend $1,000 on gear, at a rental house. So you can just kind of help them out and just help your, local community that's in need of gear. All right, let's dive into the cons. This first point may not be a con for you, but if you own your own gear, which, I have my 6K and then my 4K Pocket right here, you're limited to the gear that you have, basically limited to the quality of your camera. So these cameras are not Alexa Minis or Red Komodos or, Heliums or Dragons or even the 12K Ursa Mini. So you're limited to the cameras that you have and the quality that you're able to present to the client. For most of the jobs, these 2 cameras get all the work done, and sometimes even kind of better than some of the higher end cameras. And I feel good about this setup, but there's been many music video shoots where the director wants to shoot on an Alexa Mini because they just feel comfortable with the look of that camera. The con is that you're just limited to these 2 cameras. If someone asks you to DP something and you're like, well, this is all the gear I have, and maybe if they're not interested, then they may move on to the next person. Point number 2, and I would say the biggest con, is that you need insurance for all your gear. These cameras, all my lighting gear, grip package, my hard drives, laptop, everything that I use for my business, I need to have insurance for, and insurance is not cheap, especially for a small production company. I spend on average per month about $300 to insure my gear. And basically what the insurance does is that, let's say if someone borrows your gear and they drop your camera or lens, if it's stolen on set, or if there's a rented location where I accidentally leave a mark on the wall, or maybe my gaffer scratches the wall with one of the C-stands, my production company is responsible for making that payment. Also, if there's accidents on set, if something accidentally drops on the talent's head and they have to go to the emergency room, like, I don't have a couple $1,000 to, pay for that medical costs. So I need to have insurance in place that would protect me and my LLC and not have to get screwed by a large bill. So if you are ready to purchase your own camera gear, also keep in mind that you would most likely want your gear insured, because there are gonna be accidents and there are gonna be mistakes that are gonna be made that will cost you something eventually. Luckily, I haven't had any crazy big accidents or gear that was stolen, knock on wood. It will happen, and I know it's happened to a lot of my friends, and it's happened in the most random instances where you just thought you were in a safe location and things just go missing, But overall picture, I would encourage you guys to own your own filmmaking gear, your own camera, maybe a lens or 2 even, just a basic starter kit to where you can pull your camera out and start shooting whenever, and also be able to make residual income from renting your gear out to other filmmakers. Or if you have, your own gear show up to set, you're able to charge more and make a little bit extra money. So I think it's a win-win. Obviously there's insurance, there's different liabilities that come with having your own gear, but I think the pros outweigh the cons. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Again, if you're a filmmaker and want some free assets, link down below. Thanks for taking some time to watch this video, and I will see you guys soon. you.